Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your NXT Takeover Portland preview and predictions. We actually got 6 matches lined up for this show, which is much more, usually they go with 5. It's very, very rare that we get more than 5 matches on a Takeover. But here we are. We've got Takeover Portland. And we've got 6 matches. I'm going to just go over the matches briefly. The first 2 matches are non-title. We're going to get Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai. Obviously, very much of a grudge match. And I want to say, is that a street? I think that's a street fight.
That is a street fight, yes.
Thank you, John. Then we've got Johnny Gargano versus Finn Balor. Then we've got our championship matches. We've got Fish and O'Reilly from the Undisputed Era Tag Team Champions defending against the Broserweights. Then we have got the North American Championship on the line. Keith Lee defending against Dominik Dijakovic. Rhea Ripley will defend the NXT Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. And our main event most likely is going to be Adam Cole defending the NXT Championship against Tommaso Ciampa. We hope that everyone is able to file in, nicely, able to join us, able to kind of get in on this discussion. And all that being said, John, how do you feel about this card, my friend?
I mean, dude, it's stacked. I'm psyched for it. I'm going to get right out of the way. My hype level, I think, is a 9.5 out of 10.
Wow.
This takeover, I'm psyched for.
You know what, though? I think that you're a lot more invested in the women's championship than I am.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're convinced that there's an actual, question there as to who's going to win.
Absolutely. I definitely think it's the match I'm anticipating the most, which, given that we have Lee Dijakovic and Cole Ciampa, that's a huge compliment to Rhea and Bianca that I'm looking forward to their match more than any other.
Yeah, I'm going to say Lee Dijakovic is my most anticipated match for sure.
But where would you say your hype's at right now, man?
8.5 maybe at best.
Okay. So yeah, let's get right into this, man.
If we're getting right into this, we're talking about Dakota Kai versus Tegan Nox first, the street fight.
I'm going with Dakota to win here. I feel like I would have gone with Tegan to win and get the ultimate payback if she didn't already beat Dakota in a singles match by kind of turning the tables on Dakota and using the brace against her that Dakota was originally planning to use. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. If Rhea is going to remain the champion and this and that, I could still see them doing a Dakota-Rhea feud if she retains, or just if the NXT Women's Championship ends up in the hands of a babyface by the time that Dakota would be primed up. So I could see Dakota getting involved with the title maybe in the summer. So I'm going to go with her for the win here, and we'll just see how that goes. So yeah, Dakota Kai is going to beat Tegan here in the street fight, I think. And I know that goes against the number one rule. Dakota Kai fans should never expect a win or anything, but I just think she's going to pull it out here, man. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm following my own rule.
Yeah.
The thing is, street fights, the no DQ stipulations in general, are designed to create a cathartic sort of win for the babyface. And I think that's exactly what this is going to be, since every time Tegan has got a leg up on Dakota, Dakota has found a way to kind of turn it around a little bit, whether it was, a post-match attack or going after Candice or whatever. And the Dakota did just actually beat Candice LeRae, if I remember correctly, on the most recent episode of NXT, even if it was with a flash roll-up. So I am going to pick Tegan to win here. I'm not going to be happy about it because it seems like they turned Dakota heel for literally no reason other than, we just didn't have anything for Tegan Nox to do, and we don't want her challenging for the title yet. I guess I'm going to pick Tegan Nox. I'm going to be rooting for Dakota Kai, but I guess I'm just that cynical Dakota Kai fan that doesn't think that WWE thinks anything of her at all and just sees her as, long-term at best. Her ceiling is jobber to the stars, and I think that's exactly the role that she's playing here.
Fair enough, man. All right, next matchup.
Next is Johnny Gargano versus Finn Balor, and I hate everything about this match because I feel like I have to pick Johnny Gargano to win, even though Finn Balor absolutely should win this.
I'm going to be perfectly honest, man. I couldn't care less about this match, at all. I honestly feel like this is my least anticipated match on this show.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that. Well, no, you know what? I don't agree. It's second for me.
What's first?
The women's title.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. We're on completely opposite ends on that because you're really invested in, the Bianca angle in that. And I'm just like, oh, well, we're getting Charlotte versus Rhea, and I'm just done with it. It's over.
All right, well, that's fair. I'm sure we'll talk about it more when we actually get to the match. But yeah, I really don't care about this, and
Yeah.
it's a shame because, again, being truthful and levying the criticism, or leveling, I should say, keeping it nice and even. Johnny's a great in-ring worker. So is Finn. Johnny's gotten a bit obnoxious for me, though, on the mic. And Johnny Kickout in the ring has kind of tainted what's so good about him in the ring.
Yeah.
That being so vulnerable and seeming like he's on life support in every goddamn match, making the opposition look like $1 million. I miss that Johnny. I think that Johnny was what made Philadelphia against Andrade so fucking memorable.
Yep.
Outside of Andrade being a beast. Finn, on the other hand, I love. I've been loving him as a heel. I've been loving his aura. Really, you know what I would have loved on this fucking show? Tyler Bate versus Finn Balor. If you would have swapped Johnny for Tyler, I think you and I both would have cared about this match, even if it was a really good in-ring match.
I think I would have ended up caring about this match even more than like the tag titles at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was really hoping they'd go that route, after what Finn did to Trent Seven and all that stuff. Obviously, they didn't. This is all about, who's carrying the flag of NXT and this and that. And honestly, while we're talking about that, another reason I want Finn to win was, I feel like he was far more of a flag bearer than Johnny ever has been. And that's not necessarily trying to go hard at Johnny. That's just how I see it.
Finn Balor, like, he waved that flag so proudly. And, like, there were interviews where he talked about how, like, he knows that Vince wants him on the main roster, but he wants to stay in NXT for as long as possible. And he and Bayley were like the faces of NXT, and I believe that their tours, NXT's tours with Finn and Bayley headlining, were also the most successful financially in the brand's history.
Yeah, like fucking do something, Johnny, and then we'll talk. So honestly, even from my loyalty from that period of NXT, which I feel like was so good, like Finn all the way. Although grounding it here and getting away from that. Johnny, it does seem to be the focus. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he got back in the NXT Championship picture soon, which kind of annoys me because there's another route I'd like to go. There are two routes I'd actually prefer. Just one seems more feasible than the other. But I feel like Johnny might be in that conversation. I hate it. It's whatever. Johnny Gargano for the win.
Yeah, I'm picking Johnny to win, but I will be rooting for Finn the entire match. This is 2 matches in a row now that I'm picking against what I want to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So let's get into our third match now, this tag title match. Undisputed Era, O'Reilly and Fish defending against the Broserweights.
I'm going to keep this really quick because I already explained my logic to you on Rocket League. I think Undisputed Era are going to win this. And then I think at Tampa in my fantasy booking, which might happen maybe because I would be very disappointed in NXT if they would just let that loose end go. I could see GYV, Grizzled Young Vets, versus Broserweights versus Undisputed Era. And the way I explained it to you was Grizzled Young Vets beat Undisputed Era in the Dusty Classic. Broserweights beat GYV in the finals. Undisputed Era beat Broserweights here at Portland. Yep. So everybody's beating everybody.
Yeah, so the ultimate sort of rubber match in a way.
Exactly. So given that logic, which given me, I would actually go as far as say I think that's pretty airtight.
And dude, you know what I would love if they would do is if they would have Undisputed Era pin Riddle or Dunn in that 3-way so that the GYV could get a straight up tag team match for the titles, since they can say that they've never been pinned by the tag team championship.
I would love that, dude. I would love that. Unfortunately, I can't go that far, but I could see.
I just feel like NXT's tag division is weak enough that you could pull off using 3 teams over like 6 months.
Yeah, especially when they're of this caliber. Like, abso-freaking-lutely. So, given the logic that I explained to you on Rocket League, and I've done so again here, I am going with Undisputed Era to retain the titles against the Broserweights. So.
Sorry about that.
That's quite all right.
My spit went down the wrong pipe. You ever get that?
Oh, yeah. That's the worst feeling, brother.
Oh, God. Okay. Whew. I think I'm good. I think.
All right.
I'm definitely not dying, which is great news.
Well, absolutely.
Okay. Now, you picked Undisputed Era.
Yes.
I think I'm actually going to stick with that as well. I think I'm going to stick with Undisputed Era winning. But there is sort of an interesting storyline beat that NXT might go with Undisputed Era just kind of falling from grace completely.
Yeah.
Which would require Fish and O'Reilly to drop the tag titles here, and then Adam Cole to drop the title in the main event. And I feel like if one of those things happens, the other almost has to.
Right.
With that, would you agree with that? Would you say that if, so for example, would you say that like this match is almost like a spoiler for the main event? Because like if Undisputed Era win, then it's like Adam Cole's got to retain, or if the Undisputed Era lose, then Adam Cole's probably losing too. Like, do you feel like that's like they're connected at all?
I'm ambivalent on that, honestly, because in one way I could totally see it, but in another way I'm like, no, maybe they could go another route where instead of like they all fall apart together, some are able to do better than others, and that breeds internal jealousy, and then,
Right.
the dissolution of the fact, which I would hate because I want them called up together on the main fucking roster. If that's ever going to happen.
I'm honestly getting to the point that I'm convinced that they're not going to get called up to the main roster as a unit. They're going to end up getting called up individually, and it'll probably be Adam first, and then maybe Roderick because he can be like a mid-card mechanic, and maybe like O'Reilly, and maybe Fish won't even get called up at all unless it just is with O'Reilly as a tag team.
Yeah. Them really becoming their own third brand has kind of complicated things, dude. I'm not saying in a bad way.
No, you're right, though.
Like,
it has, because it's like, can we even really call it a call-up anymore?
Right, exactly.
Like, I know that we've made jokes in the past about, getting called to Raw or SmackDown is like a downgrade. That's more of a call down than a call up. But at the end of the day, you're still, you're going from being network exclusive to being on national television. But now they're on national television. So is it really that much of a call? Like, the ratings, I will say, NXT's ratings are like 30 or 40% of especially SmackDown's ratings. So I would say getting called up to SmackDown would be a genuine call up because so many more eyes are on you. But it's not like it's a difference between not being on TV and being on TV anymore. It's not that stark anymore.
Right, exactly. So
anything else to say about this match?
No, man, I think I'm good.
All right, then I guess we get into the North American Championship. This is my most anticipated match by far. And that being said, it's not even most anticipated because, oh my God, I can't wait to find out who wins. Because I'm pretty convinced Keith Lee's retaining here. Like, I'm picking Keith Lee to retain. And, like, if we were doing confidence points, this would probably be my 6. This is the match that I'm most confident about, Keith Lee retaining. But the match itself is, like, every time these guys get in the ring together, it's fucking amazing.
Oh, dude, abso-fucking-lutely. They are so good. This very easily could be Portland's match of the night. Hell, this could be a match of the year contender.
Yeah, I was just going to say that same thing. This has got match of the year contender written all over it to me.
And, yeah, honestly, I mean, let me ask you, man, this is your most anticipated match, so I'm going to put you in the hot seat. Are you struggling at all with your prediction for this match, or do you think it's pretty straightforward?
Well, didn't you hear what I said about my prediction, my confidence?
Oh, no, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I was saying, like, if we were doing confidence points, this would be my 6. Like, I'm the most confident about this match.
Oh, wow. See, yeah, because I'm a bit torn. Because I maybe it's just me projecting, like, wishing there would be a chance that, Keith Lee would get in the NXT Championship picture. But
I mean, yeah, that would be wonderful for sure. But, I think we were all kind of feeling that way about Velveteen Dream at one point, too. And they kept the title on him forever, and I ended up loving it on him. So, I don't know.
Yeah. And I think given that, you know what, I would love for Dijakovic to have this because I don't really know where Dijakovic goes from here. Whereas with Keith Lee, he's got so much momentum. Like, it'd be very easy to chart a course for Keith Lee post North American Championship. Yeah. Dijakovic's a different story.
I don't think it's that difficult for Dijakovic either. I mean, with Keith Lee, there's still the Roderick Strong rematch in the bag. And, like, I think Cameron Grimes is a very obvious contender. And then Damian Priest, which I think Damian Priest is, like, probably front of the line after Dijakovic. So I would say, like, those guys. But even with Dijakovic, though, you could potentially do, like, an Angel Garza. It doesn't have to be all big men. You could do a Bronson Reed. We know he's a babyface. He just had the match with Roderick Strong. Yeah, you could do Velveteen Dream again. Like, Velveteen Dream hasn't really done much with Dijakovic at all, so you could do that. Like, it's not like there's just nobody for Dijakovic if he would win the title. I'm just that confident that they're going to keep the title on Keith Lee.
Yeah.
He just won the thing. Like, he literally just won it like a month ago, I feel like.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think I'll play it safe, and I'll go with Keith Lee.
I mean, you know what our boy Deluxe Man always says, or actually he's not Deluxe Man anymore. What our boy Alex always says: every takeover, there's always some kind of swerve. There's always some kind of surprise, some result that we weren't expecting. So maybe this will be that. Maybe I'm just so confident about Keith Lee retaining here, and they're gonna just be like, nope, and Dijakovic wins. But I'm sticking with the smart money. I'm sticking with Keith Lee.
You know what, man? I know you laid out like it wouldn't be hard for Dijakovic, but I don't necessarily agree. So I think because of my own reservation, I think I am going to go with Dijakovic to win. Because I think Keith Lee will be just fine. He's so charismatic. I would say, personally, I love Dijakovic, but I would say Keith Lee's far more charismatic than he is. And again, I just feel like that charisma will just make Keith Lee.
You realize, though, I was laying out potential contenders for a championship.
Yes.
I wasn't trying to be like, oh, this is who they can feud with after they lose.
Right.
I'm confused as to how you made that connection.
Well, no, because I'm just saying, like I said, I feel like Dijakovic, if he loses this match and wasn't champion, I don't know where he goes from here. And then I feel like you gave contenders for like if Dijakovic would win, which I agree.
Well, I mean, if Dijakovic loses, I would imagine he would probably end up on Raw or SmackDown very soon.
See, and I'm not so sure about that.
Because I feel like he is very, very ready for that level of television. Like, he's got the look. He's like 6'5". You know, he's got the athleticism. He can talk. He's got a great voice for TV. Like, I think he's one of those prospects that Vince is going to be salivating over, for sure.
See, and if this was pre-USA NXT, I'd agree with you. But again, I feel like that third brand has really fucked a lot of shit up. So I can't even readily co-sign with that. And even if I did... You know, we say that about a lot of talents, dude, and look where they still are. How many post-WrestleMania Raw or SmackDown do we think the Undisputed Era would be on, and they're still in NXT?
Yeah.
So,
that's two now that we
it's two, so that would be 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of looking like egg on our face here, so I can't even readily co-sign on anything, because who we think are prospects, Vince may be like, well, yeah, but just not now. So I'm going with Dijakovic.
So you're picking Dijakovic based exclusively on the fact that you don't know what he does if he doesn't win the NXT.
Exactly. Yeah. I just don't know what he does at all. I think he needs that title far more than Keith Lee does. So I'm going to go with Dijakovic to win it.
Okay. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, I'm following your logic now. It took me a while to get here, but I am following your logic now. I just don't agree with it. So
right.
I'm gonna stick with Keith. Keith's my pick to win. And we can move on, which up next, let's talk about the Women's Championship, Rhea versus Bianca. And I am going to just, I'm picking Rhea to retain, and I'm just going to set my hands, in the air, set my keyboard down, set my mouse down, just leave everything alone and let you just go here, because I know you have a lot here.
I want to keep it somewhat concise, only because I really laid out a lot of my arguments in my Twitter thread that I did.
Well, yeah, but like... Bianca. Verbalize your Twitter thread so that people go on.
I mean, yeah, I just feel like, Bianca's been kind of, I mean, I won't say completely done dirty because the go home show, she looked very dominant, but Charlotte completely belittled her on the mic.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not me. And this conversation's for champions only.
Ironic because Charlotte wasn't a champion at the time.
Yeah. But, I mean, at least I guess her point is I've won more titles than you and all that bullshit. She eliminated Bianca from the Women's Rumble. So, she kind of gave her that receipt there. She's spoken highly of her in interviews. So I just feel like all of it is a perfect storm. Whereas with Rhea, it's hard because she beat fucking Shayna Baszler. She was the one to end the reign. And WWE clearly sees a high valuation in her. But again, a lot like Dijakovic, I feel like Bianca needs this win a lot more because nobody's been dissing Rhea the way Bianca's been dissed. Nobody's coming for her the way that she's been coming for, on the mic and, in this whole story. I said on Twitter, I feel like this is a must-win match for Bianca. And I got to be honest, too, because Javaris even just said it. It's perfect timing. I think Charlotte's causing a no contest. Why I have such misgivings about that? Takeovers are treated very seriously. Like every championship match on a takeover, I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't have to look that far back. Maybe my memory is just that shit, which that's very possible. But I can't remember the last time we did a no contest in a championship match on a takeover.
I don't think it's ever happened, dude.
I don't think it's ever happened either. So this idea that we do a no contest now, not only do I fucking hate it, but like Jesus Christ, And it's funny that I'm saying this, given that my favorite wrestler of all time won his world title in a triple threat. But I like all championship matches to really, especially at a Mania, to be like a one-on-one affair. I mean, tag team, sure, you can have a little bit of liberty. I know it's like an undercard title, but like, you know, for your women's championships, for your world titles, keep it 1-to-1. And so I don't like that we would have to just do a triple threat just to protect everybody when, like, I feel like you should be able to just give Bianca this. Maybe Rhea invokes her rematch and we do a triple threat that way if we need to. I would personally prefer, you know, Bianca, Charlotte at Mania, and then you do Charlotte, Rhea maybe at SummerSlam in a few months. Because I'm not against that match. I just feel like everybody's looking past Bianca, that she needs this so much more. Like, Rhea's going to be fine if she loses this. I still think she's the future. She's still hella young, younger than Bianca, certainly.
By a decade.
By a decade. So she's got time and the talent. Bianca's got the talent, but not necessarily the time. You know, I feel like we got to use her best moments now. I'm going with Bianca to win this. I know that is probably such a minority opinion. I don't know anybody like outside of just like the core fandom that would go with Bianca if they're looking at it for logic's
sake. Well, dude,
sake.
I was even going to say, I'm noticing a trend about your picks tonight. You're going with who you think deserves to win rather than who you think actually will.
But I feel like WWE, well, not WWE, but NXT, with their writing in the past, they have to see how Bianca looks right now with Charlotte dissing her and stuff like that. You can't just leave her on the sidelines. Now, granted, one thing that did temper me even going for Bianca here was just how dominant she was on the go-home show, between running through Santana like fucking nothing, like a knife through butter, and then laying Rhea out. I'm like, oh, is that just to give her enough momentum to kind of balance the scales? And then Rhea looks impressive in victory because, like we talk about, if you beat a nobody, well, then what does that make you? Like, you know, that whole thing. But I just, laying out the logic in my Twitter thread and laying it out again here, I feel like if she loses after everything Charlotte kind of said to her and stuff, to me, I would look at it low-key as a burial, and I even said that on the Twitter thread. So I'm going with Bianca for the win here. I think she's going to get the upset. And then we may still get our triple threat because Rhea would have the back door of a rematch clause. But, yeah, Bianca needs to get in on that match somehow, and the only path that doesn't, you know, taint the integrity and the sanctity of takeovers would be just her beating Rhea. So there you go. Bianca Belair for the win. Let's do it.
And my biggest misgiving with that is if they wanted to give Bianca this push now, why would they be giving Rhea the championship and have Rhea be the one that beats Shayna back in December? Why wouldn't they just have that be Bianca, and rather than have Rhea be this weird transitional champion where she beats the dominant NXT champion of all time, save for maybe Asuka, and then loses the title 2 months later? That makes no sense to me.
I mean, I understand that. I don't know. I honestly wish Bianca was the one. You know that, because when Bianca was the one feuding with Shayna, I was pulling for her to do it. I thought it would have been a great rub for her then. I think it's a great rub for her now. But you're right. The timing really is the worst part of all of this. Because again, and I even mentioned this, Rhea did beat freaking Shayna after a monster run, and it looks a bit weird. You know, I ain't going to lie. So I don't know. I mean, I will say this.
I guess if they wanted to keep up appearances, like, we've got to remember Shayna's going to be going after Becky. So I guess if I wanted to kind of play some mental Olympics with it, and knowing how obsessed with vanity Vince McMahon is, maybe they didn't want to have Rhea on WrestleMania and they wanted to do Bianca versus Charlotte. But they also didn't want commentary mentioning that Shayna lost the title to someone in NXT.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have Rhea Ripley on your WrestleMania show against Charlotte, you've got to mention she's the one that beat she's the one that beat Shayna Baszler for the NXT title. And then if Shayna Baszler beats Becky Lynch, that makes the NXT title look better and more valuable than the Raw Women's title. And you know Vince would hate that. So I guess, like I said, if I wanted to play the mental Olympics, you could justify it that way. But I still just think it doesn't look good to me. You put the title on Rhea, give her this huge rub, have her beat Shayna, this huge celebration afterwards, and then 2 months later she drops it to Bianca, who was part of the celebration, I think, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember seeing her, but you might very well be right. You know, I don't even. Yeah, I honestly don't remember that clearly.
The optics are just weird as hell to me, and I'm not a big fan of that.
And the only other out I could see, which I would have less misgivings about, because we've actually seen this on a takeover, would be if like Charlotte didn't cause a no contest, but maybe she screwed with Rhea, because Rhea's really been the one getting up in Charlotte's face, right? Like, she's been really antagonistic to Charlotte, coming to her, rubbing in her face, you haven't beaten me. And then she costs Rhea the title, which of course Bianca takes umbrage with because she's the ST. She's a very proud competitor, right? So she's
dude, and I was even going to say, like, to be fair, there are very sort of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Benoit, since you mentioned it earlier, there's a vibe about that to this match because of the way that they're trying to overlook Bianca. But, like, I don't know if they're trying to tell that same story.
And I don't think they are in that way. But look, to me, either Bianca's going to get the upset over Rhea, or because of the logistics and the optics, to your point, you have Charlotte, I don't know, maybe trip Rhea's foot up, or just something that the referee wouldn't notice and throw the match out for. Bianca capitalizes, it protects Rhea, it makes Charlotte look smarmy because, oh, you want to rub in my face that I've never beaten you? Well, you didn't beat Bianca. So, and here I am, I've actually, eliminated her in the Rumble, done all this stuff. So again, much like my whole thing in Tampa with GYV, UE, and Broserweights, you kind of have that three-way standoff. Everybody has something over everybody else. So I'm just gonna go with that. And in fact, I'll even put an asterisk. So I'll say Bianca wins, but via Charlotte interference. But Bianca will win. It won't be any no contest crap, because I honestly would hate that. I feel like the tradition of takeovers, you have finishes. That's why I love takeovers, honestly, because you know that you're gonna get a decisive result. And I wouldn't want them to change that tradition now just because Charlotte got fucking involved, thus further proving that she's the worst. So I think that's where I'm just gonna settle on the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that they are just kind of getting the mega push to Rhea right now. I think, she won War Games shorthanded. She, won the Survivor Series 5-on-5-on-5 match for her team. She beat Shayna Baszler. I don't think, and then she had a great showing in the Royal Rumble, which Bianca also did. I'm not trying to take that away from her. And arguably, I would say Bianca had an even better showing than Rhea in the Royal Rumble. I'm not trying to take that away from her. But if you just look at the scheme of things, I feel like they are really giving Shayna the rocket strap. And I think that part of that rocket strap is going to be retaining against like an EO or a Dakota or someone along those lines on Saturday, and then on Sunday immediately going into a match against Charlotte and finding a way to retain against Shayna as well. So I think that they're just putting the rocket ship behind Rhea. I'm picking her to retain here. I'll pick her to retain at Takeover Tampa, no matter who it's against, even if it's EO, and I'll fucking hate it because I want EO to be the one to take the title off of Rhea, and which means that I don't want it to be at Tampa. But if they do it, I'll still pick Rhea to retain. And yeah, I'm gonna pick Rhea to win at WrestleMania and Charlotte too. So I'm going all the way. I think that NXT and Vince and Triple H and everyone involved is just 100% behind Rhea Ripley, making her into a huge star. And I don't think they're gonna have too difficult of a time doing it or too much pushback either, because she is really, really good at what she does. And by the way, I also wanted to add in, because I mentioned one of the reasons that I'm not really excited about this match is because I just feel like it's a given that Rhea's going to retain. And then I also mentioned that I felt like Keith Lee, it was a given that he was going to retain, but I'm looking forward to that match the most. I don't think this is going to be a very good match from a quality perspective. I don't think either one of these women is that amazing of a worker. I think they're both decent, but I think that they're both like almost like that Roman Reigns or like Charlotte, where like the quality of their match is almost exclusively dependent on the quality of their opponent. And going against each other, I don't really expect anything too exceptional here,
All right, that's fair. We'll see what happens, man. Like I told you, this is my most anticipated match. I'm going to be like leaning forward in my chair, heart in my throat, the whole 9 yards here for this thing. Because this landscape, this NXT Women's Championship match, it's a big deal for the NXT Women's title to be on the Mania stage. And I'm just very curious how they're going to put all the pieces together. So that's all I got to say about it. I don't think there's anything else to say.
Yeah. Do you remember that like in-ring worker tier list that I made for the women in WWE?
Vaguely.
Okay. Rhea and Bianca. Where did I put Rhea? Rhea was B tier. Bianca was C tier. So I would say they're both probably like close to each other as far as that goes.
Right.
So yeah, Bianca probably deserves to be higher than that. They're probably both B tier, honestly. But yeah, I just am not thinking this match is going to be anything spectacular. I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm sure it'll be solid. I'm sure that we'll get a lot of good character work and stuff. But I don't think that it's going to be. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think that if you're somebody like us who has been almost spoiled by the quality of women's matches at takeovers, I think that this is not going to live up to that. You know what I mean?
All right. We'll see, man. We'll see.
Okay, I feel like I can't get you to just commit to agreeing.
Well, no, because I feel like Bianca's very athletic. I feel like Rhea, she's very. I think they could make magic together. But again, that's not. We'll see it when we see it. Is kind of my thing. Right. I feel like they can do it, but we'll see. I could come out of it and be like, yeah, Ashton, you were right. That was kind of middle of the road. But I enjoy them both. And I've definitely been digging Bianca's intensity and her aggression lately.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to. I think this will be her third NXT Women's Championship match at a takeover specifically.
Yep.
Because I know she had the one with Shayna, the Fatal 4-Way, and now Rhea. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's my most anticipated match. So it wouldn't be if I didn't have confidence in these women to do it. I feel like that's kind of implied. So yeah.
I figured it was just your most anticipated match because you just feel like Bianca's winning.
I mean, yeah, that, and I just feel like the story has got me interested because, I want Bianca to win. I'm pulling for her, but Rhea is just on the fucking rise. And whoever it is, I want them to beat Charlotte. Like, Charlotte is the clear typecast villain to me in this. And yeah, like, I genuinely care about the stakes in this, the people involved, including Charlotte again as the antagonist. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this play out on Sunday. So can't wait to get there.
All right. Man. Well, let's get to our main event then. Tommaso Ciampa challenging Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. I honestly, dude, if I didn't feel like the Undisputed Era guys all had to lose their titles at the same time, I would really, really I would be pretty well convinced that Ciampa was winning here. Like, I really think Ciampa needs to win here. The only thing that's making me hesitate is that feeling that, like, if one Undisputed Era guy loses their title, they all should. And I am picking O'Reilly and Fish to retain against the Broserweights. And I love your fantasy booking leading to a three-way involving the Grizzled Young Vets. So because of that, and because I'm so sort of committed to agreeing on that and picking O'Reilly and Fish, it makes me kind of second guess myself here. But I think I'm still going to do it anyway, man. I'm picking Tommaso Ciampa to win.
Damn. All right, brother. I truthfully, I'm going with Adam Cole to retain. I feel like, to me, I don't know, man. Because to me, look, I'm going to be honest. It's not that Ciampa isn't working as a babyface, but I can't look at him in the context of NXT and see anything other than the masterful heel that had the heel run of the fucking industry before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And to me, and again, this could be projecting because, like, I just said, I see him through that lens. I filter him through that prism. I see the story of, because he said, that title is my life. I don't know what I'm going to do without it. Like, not only is he very passionate, he's very desperate.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if Cole beats him, that dude's going to fucking snap on somebody. And, like, that's what I'm waiting for, is for him to kind of be that upper card heel for whoever they want to kind of mix up with him and get them over. And I've already said, now I'm kind of ambivalent about this in a weird way, because I've already said to you that I feel like Tampa's going to be Velveteen Dream versus Adam Cole. Now why I'm ambivalent about it, I fucking adore Velveteen Dream. Anybody that listens to this podcast knows this. Why I'm ambivalent about it is, I'm sorry, I can't help but feel like it should have been Keith Lee. And it may still be. We don't know NXT. Like, again, to Takeover just last year was supposed to be Ciampa versus Gargano. Ciampa got hurt. Cole got his opportunity. So we don't know until the card is finalized and we're watching it. It could still be Keith Lee. Yeah. We don't know. But I feel like, to your point, now granted I disagreed with it, but I could totally understand your point. It's not that I couldn't, that he just won the fucking North American title. Why give him that if you were just going to immediately leapfrog him to another? It's like that Rick and Morty bit, like, oh, that's just slavery with extra steps. That's just like a world title push with extra steps. I don't understand it. You could have done this a lot easier.
Yeah.
So I get that. And it's not that Dream wouldn't be a bad contender by any means. It's just I really was loving the story I thought they were telling with Keith Lee. That said, I just feel like it's more interesting if Ciampa loses because he's so desperate. Like, he has wanted this match so bad. Like, that image of him bleeding on the title and holding it close, like, that was everything because that just told you how much that title means to him. So what if the bell rings and again, and this is where the story really gets haunting to me in a good way. What if he doesn't make Takeover Mania this year, not because he was injured, but because he wasn't good enough? Like, that's going to drive that fucking dude insane. I feel like Cole's going to win, and we get Ciampa turning within the next month after. Because this babyface run to me was never long-term.
I almost feel like that's too repetitive, though.
You really think so?
Like, I feel like we've gotten the psychopath Tommaso Ciampa run, and we don't need another one before he leaves NXT. I think we're fine. Like, I think he's in a place now where he is, like, this super beloved figure by the NXT universe because he was almost put on the main roster, but then he came back, and then he injured himself, and he fought through the injury, and it almost fucking killed him. And he made it back from that, and now it's like he's NXT's savior going up against this piece of shit Adam Cole. Like, it feels so much less like, oh, Ciampa's about to fall from grace, and so much more like Ciampa is like the fucking superhero coming to save the day after having already fallen from grace. I don't think he needs to fall from grace more than two or three, like one or two times. Like he fell from grace in like a moral sense when he turned heel and he went psychopath, and then he fell from grace in a more literal sense with the injury. I don't think he needs to do it again.
That is an interesting counterpoint. I would say, because I think Ciampa even said in an interview, like if they would try and put him on Raw or SmackDown, he would consider like retiring. I don't know if it was the neck injury or what, but I think he likes the schedule of NXT. I think he likes the atmosphere of NXT and everything. So I feel like actually Ciampa's has a closer affinity to like a Finn Balor in that sense. Cause we said like Finn Balor was kind of the flag bearer, did all the shows, even said like, I want to make NXT number one. I feel like Ciampa has a very similar mentality.
Exactly.
Like, I want to make NXT,
yes,
the best fucking show.
Yeah.
So because of that, I don't think he would have to win the championship to have a reason to stay, is what I'm trying to say. Because I feel like, So, but then again, I do get where you're coming from, though. In the sense of, like, we've already done this story. How could he have a heel run again that's nuanced enough that makes me feel like I'm not getting the same product I just got last year?
Well,
for a large part of last year.
Right. And we've also got to think about it. At least this is how I think about it. We've seen Tommaso Ciampa win the NXT title as a piece of shit. What we haven't seen is him redeem himself and win the NXT title as a good guy. So
let me just ask you this point blank. You don't agree with me then outright, even if you don't agree with like my methodology, just the nature of the disagreement. You feel like this babyface run is more long-term than I do.
Yes.
Because I feel like it was very short-term, but you feel like it's more of a long-term thing. That is interesting.
Yeah. I feel like Ciampa is going to be a babyface for at least the remainder of this year, of 2020. At least, if not going into 2021 even.
Yeah. I'd be curious what you guys feel, whether you're more with me or with Ashton about if you think the babyface is more long-term or not. Thank you, McLean. Everybody else, hit the like button if you haven't yet, because we're really getting this conversation here. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, man. I mean, just being charitable to your points, yeah, because the heel turn is ground that we've already kind of treaded a bit.
Yeah.
And my thing
is almost like a Kevin Owens situation where, like, we've seen everything that heel Kevin Owens could possibly do. Where does Kevin Owens as a heel have to go but down? And I feel
right
about Ciampa. Like, we've seen heel Ciampa peak. We're never going to get a better heel Ciampa than the one that we got in 2018. So, like, why would we go back to that and tread that same territory again?
Right. Yeah. I will say, personally, I wonder what the Tampa matchup would be if Ciampa does win, because truth be told...
Ciampa Dream again.
I would love that. I would love that because that got my match of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do Ciampa Gargano.
Yeah, well, dude, I was going to say we could do Ciampa Gargano, yeah. Or actually, I was even going to say Ciampa Balor. Holy shit.
I mean, I would love that. So I didn't even let me just clarify something just very quickly. I didn't ask that because I didn't think there were options. I asked that because truthfully, I don't want to see Gargano. Like, because I'm just like, if it was last year, I would have been so ready
that's
for
fair.
it.
But again, though, I don't think Ciampa would turn heel. I don't think they would do like I don't think they would have Ciampa turn heel and just retread the story of heel Ciampa versus face Gargano again. So if anything, Balor would like corrupt Gargano, and Gargano would be the heel in that match against Ciampa. But I don't think they would do that right away either.
Yeah, because like I understand where you're coming from with that, and like on that front, I completely agree with you. Because I just feel like it would be weird to turn Gargano heel as well. Because remember, he just got done teaming with Ciampa at Worlds Collide, and like coming out and saving him, and he's been having his back, which shocked even Ciampa. So the guy that's come out to help you, now he's turned on you, and now you're upset about like it would.
Although I will say it would be interesting if they did the story in reverse, where Ciampa beats Cole for the title, and then Gargano comes out to celebrate, but then beats the shit out of him afterwards. Like, Gargano is the one that perpetuates the beatdown. Because let's be real, Gargano's been fucking insufferable lately. I almost have to wonder if it's on purpose. Like, I almost have to wonder if they are setting him up for a heel turn, independent of Ciampa. Because the last time Gargano was heelish, it was because of Ciampa. But if he would turn heel independent of Ciampa, that would be different and new.
Oh God, dude, I want to believe because he's such a douche muffin right now.
Yeah.
I want to believe. Like, you're working me, right? Because like this isn't like, I feel like John Cena just looking at Gargano and seeing how much like he has left to give to the business and just like, so is this a forever thing? Like, is this your default state? So no, that's an excellent, worthwhile point. I just don't know, man. Because, like, with the NXT Women's Championship, you know my thoughts on that. I feel like it's a must-win for Bianca. And I do feel like she's going to win because I just feel like they've really painted her into a corner. With Ciampa Cole, though, Ciampa is painted into a corner. But, God.
Can I just say, before we even, just sidebar here, I love that the NXT Championship is being fought between two guys that cut amazing promos consistently. Like,
yes.
These guys are both, like, they're both great workers, and I'm not going to try and say that they're not. They're both amazing in the ring, especially to me, Ciampa is better than Cole in the ring, although they're both great. And Cole is, like, he's got, like, that Ishii factor where you kind of underestimate him, and then he pulls you in every time. But, like, me, on the mic, these guys are both better than probably 80% of the main roster. Like, they're both
oh my God, yeah.
Amazing workers. And Ciampa's promo on Monday was just goosebump inducing. Or on Wednesday, rather, not Monday. On Wednesday.
Yeah, Ciampa's stuff has been so good. Like, this isn't even like a statistic thing for me. Like, no, Ciampa, you get nothing. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, and again, too, this is something else I have to factor. Like, if I'm really being fair, he never did lose the championship.
Yeah.
And most often when you get that template, the babyface usually does get it back. Like, I know Batista did when he had to vacate. John Cena did when he had to vacate. And I would put, in terms of what he means to the brand, I would put Ciampa on the level of a Batista or a John Cena.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, you know what? Adhering to my own logic that I just said it, because it would be weird if I, like, swerved right and was like, ha ha ha, Cole wins. I'm going to go Ciampa wins, but I want to stress that it's very tentative. Like, I will go Ciampa wins, but I would not be surprised if Cole retains because of everything I said prior to this very point. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind, but I am going to go with Ciampa. And I hope I don't regret it. Because, yeah, just thinking about he never lost the title. Babyfaces usually do get it back. It'll probably be the main event. It'll be the Cinderella thing. Maybe Johnny will even come out and celebrate with him. Especially if he does beat Finn, which you and I both kind of hate that we think it's probably going to happen.
Yep.
So they could do like a DIY thing. And the only way I'd give a shit is if Johnny like attacked him and then held up the NXT championship. I mean, we'll fucking see.
I like, the more we talk about it, the more I think that that's like the most likely thing to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the big thing about takeovers too. One, the clean, straight up finishes, which I mean, this match definitely also needs to have. Abso-fucking-lutely. And then, just the final few minutes. Like, how does a takeover close? Sometimes it closes normal. Sometimes angles get facilitated. I would even say it's more angles get facilitated than closes normal. But you do get some normal takeovers. But I'm going to keep my eyes on the ending as well. Because if Gargano's coming out to celebrate with Ciampa, I'm just going to be waiting for Gargano to just stick the fucking knife in his back. So...
Dude, you know what else is really crazy? Is that Sunday will be very, very close. It won't be exact, but it'll be very, very close to 1 year to the day that Ciampa had his last match before his injury.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude. His last matches before he had to leave and get his neck surgery were on an NXT taping on February 20th of 2019.
Damn.
So we're talking about almost 1 year to the day. And I think NXT on Wednesday? No, that'll be the 19th. It's close, though. We're really close to 1 year to the day from Ciampa wrestling his last match before his neck surgery. So, like, the story is very much there for him to win it and have this huge redemption arc.
Yeah.
And then Johnny ruins it Kevin Owens style.
Yeah, dude, that would be great. Like, because here's the thing, too, and the only other reason, and God, I'm probably
dude, I just realized, too, we know how much of a mark Johnny Gargano is. He doesn't have to ruin it Kevin Owens style. He could ruin it HBK style.
Oh, God, yeah, right?
They're celebrating in the ring. Ciampa's pandering to the crowd, and he turns around into a super kick. Are you kidding me?
Oh, God, yeah.
That's such a Johnny thing, too. Johnny is the super kick guy now.
And, dude, I'm probably doing mental gymnastics just to, like, make this work. Because, again, I am going to go with Ciampa, although, again, very tentatively. But if you wanted to do that whole thing, I mean, Gargano's been talking about lately to Finn that, like, you're no longer the flag bearer of NXT. I am. I picked up the flag that you left behind.
Yep.
Well, he could see Ciampa as the only other claim. Yeah, he's not only delusional, but he could also see Ciampa as the only threat to that status as the flag bearer, because what good is a flag bearer without the gold to go with it? And then that's
and I see it more as him being like a piece of shit martyr heel, where he's just like, I picked up the flag. I carried this place when you were gone. When you decided that you wanted to make things about you, who was always putting on the 5-star matches? Who was still here when you were out with your injury? It was me. It was all me. I was the champion. I was dealing with the Undisputed Era. Like, he would go full martyr mode and just talk about how great he is and how he's been around the whole time and how, you know, the NXT universe loves him and all this, and like this delusional martyr heel. I just love the potential for that from Johnny. And like, it would work on us. It would work us because we both already have a problem with him. We both think he's annoying already. And him turning that up to 11 would just make us hate him that much more.
You're not even wrong. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the vision for Takeover Tampa, which does make me feel better because, again, like, as a mark, I would have gotten so behind Velveteen and everything, but I wasn't feeling it as much as Keith Lee. And if it's not going to be Keith Lee, you might as well finish.
You know what, dude? Speaking of Keith Lee, I almost wonder if we're gonna get Lee versus Dream at Takeover Tampa.
We very well might. Yeah, we very well might. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And the thing is, too, whether you're a fan of Gargano or Ciampa or not, they never really did get a chance to finish their story definitively. This would be them doing that to me.
And flipped 182. They flip it on its head. Like, we go into Takeover Tampa with this benevolent babyface champion, Tommaso Ciampa, defending against this piece of shit, slimy, wannabe martyr, delusional asshole, Johnny Gargano. And everyone is rooting for this wonderful babyface hero champion, Ciampa, to retain, when literally a year ago today, it was supposed to be Gargano as the hero trying to finally beat the champion, Ciampa. Like, it was finally going to happen. And then it got injured. Like, the story is perfect. I would say it comes 360, but it makes so much more sense to say it comes 180 because it's upside down.
Yeah. And I mean, just you even saying the story is perfect. That's probably the reaction they're looking for. And by they, I mean NXT, because again, they never got to finish it the way they wanted to the first time because of the injury. So if this is their second chance, you got to take it. So,
and the thing is, they don't even have to put the title on Gargano now because he already had his run as a babyface, and they do not need to take that title and put it back on him as a heel.
No, they don't. They just need to finish the story. That's his function. Just finish the story and do the job.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right.
All right. God, I love everything about what we just talked about, and we're going to be so disappointed on Sunday when it doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be disappointed mainly because, like, I was right originally. Cole retains, and I would have been like, I called it before I changed it, and that kind of flummox thing.
Yeah,
I'll be like,
we all know what happens when you join me on my predictions.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, I fucking hate you people. I hate this cruise ship that I put myself on that sinks every goddamn time. But if you are right, I will be happy that I co-signed. So I'm ready for either emotional reaction personally. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, talking about this, my hype is still the same. 9.5 out of 10. I really just do not care about Gargano versus Balor, which is a shame. I think that's the weakest part of this. I mean, when you're fucking weaker than, Tegan versus Dakota, which I like both ladies, but Dakota looks like nothing kayfabe-wise. And even when that match kind of beats out that match, that's really sad. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a solid takeover. We're on the road to WrestleMania. Portland definitely feels like it. And, yeah, guys, that was preview predictions on my end. I want to thank everybody for coming out. If you haven't liked the video yet, please do so. We still got 12 people, but only 5 likes. And we'll see you at 10:30 tonight for WWE Catch-Up Commentary, where we're going to review and talk about the last 2 episodes of Raw and SmackDown. So until then, I'm going to hand it over to Ash and take us home.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you enjoyed this preview predictions. I had a whole lot of fun with it. I'll say I'm gonna lock in my 8.5 now. Actually, that discussion at the end really got me hyped for this show, so I'm looking more forward to it now than I was at the beginning. 8.5 out of 10 hype level. I hope that you're all looking forward to the show as well. We will see you for it on Sunday. Be sure to like this video before you file out. You can also subscribe to the channel if you're new. Click the bell icon to join the notification squad. Follow us over on Twitch and click the subscribe button over there and the bell button. And then you can also follow us on Twitter and like our Facebook page. If you'd like to support the channel, you've got a few options. You can buy our merch over on Teespring. You can donate to our Patreon channel, which has all kinds of perks, so make sure to look into that. You can share this channel and this video with all of your wrestling fan friends as well, and let them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube and Twitch wrestling communities. We are the workhorses of those communities, and we will continue to drive that point home with our continued coverage of NXT and Stardom and New Japan, and occasionally also WWE, as is obviously evidenced by tonight. We will be doing our catch-up commentary at 10:30, a half hour after SmackDown ends, and occasionally even AEW, because we're going to be doing an AEW Full Gear preview predictions in a couple weeks as well, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And yeah, we are also going to be doing more Stardom live reactions on Sunday before Takeover. And then, of course, Takeover itself will be live reacting to that. Tuesday, we'll probably have more Stardom reactions for you. We've got all kinds of Stardom coming your way. And then next Wednesday will be more NXT live reactions. So it'll be the post-Takeover Portland show. We hope that you're all looking forward to that. And most importantly, we hope that you're all able to remember to stay tuned.